Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shills, nuts, slicers, peasants, vassals, smurfs, anti-personnel minds. I'm a useful idiot, and today I want to talk about a way that wars continue to give. And I'm talking about wars almost everywhere, and wars going all the way back through the beginning of the 20th century have all left us with a legacy of what they call unexploded ordnance, or UXOs. And these actually litter the globe. You'd be surprised. The fields of Europe are still littered with World War I artillery shells. German and British cities are built on unexploded bombs from aerial bombing during World War II, and Africa and Asia are strewn with these devices. And all nations in both World Wars used millions of landmines, of course, and they got cleaned up pretty quickly after World War II, but that's because of the culture and the terrain, of course, and the will. So, but these devices date back to the U.S. Civil War, and there's precedents before that as well. But all militaries like them; they're cheap and effective. And the place we're at now is somewhere between 5 million and 110 million unexploded ordnance around the globe, depending on who you talk to. And whether it's the low or high figure, and they're both pretty staggering and pretty disturbing. If you look at it country by country, it certainly is disturbing. There's 500,000 landmines in Sri Lanka alone from their 26-year civil war. There's 20 million mines on Iraq borders, many left from the Iran-Iraq War of 1980 to 1988. And there's Cambodia. There's 63,500 mine casualties in that country since 1975. The Soviet Union left 250,000 mines in Afghanistan when they left, and the Afghan government continued laying mines even after that. In Colombia, in Latin America, there's 20,000 mines still left. And it's quite a problem because it kills 15 to 20,000 people a year worldwide. So we have wars going all the way back to World War I that are contributing to still killing 15 to 20,000 people a year worldwide. And that's on top of, like I mentioned earlier, now we have depleted uranium rounds in all over the Middle East. And this will continue creating problems and casualties. And there has been 54,000 casualties in Laos, and 25 million bomblets that are still left over. Bomblets are from cluster bombs and the smaller munitions that those unleash. So 25 million of those are strewn across Laos, and then Laos still even has bombs and ordnance buried in its jungles from World War II. And to give you an idea how much territory can be covered, mines cover 3% of the entire territory of the country of Kosovo, and 4% of the entire country of Bosnia is covered with mines. That's 200,000 mines in a country that size. And you'll find mines all over the world: Sudan, Western Sahara, Mozambique, Angola, Democratic Republic of Congo, Zimbabwe, Georgia, Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Colombia. And Lebanon has covered with mines from several Israeli incursions there. And in fact, Israel put 1.5 million landmines in the Golan Heights in the Arava Valley. So that's 1.5 million mines right there along the Syrian-Israeli border. And it's estimated there's still even 21,000 sites across Britain from the Nazi Blitz that have unexploded ordnance. And annually in France, I found this very shocking. Every year in France, 900 tons of unexploded ordnance and chemical weapons are destroyed from World War I. 900 tons every year. And Belgium, the same thing. 250 tons of ordnance and chemical weapons is destroyed every year from World War I. And we don't even have figures for how much unexploded ordnance there is in Germany and Japan from carpet bombing from the Allies. And U.S. soil is oddly not exempt from this trend. Hawaii, there has been 2,000 munitions discovered under a housing complex built in Hawaii. There's already been 6 deaths and 12 injuries. And in fact, in U.S. territory in general, there's been 37 killed and 47 injured from unexploded ordnance. So definitely a very much smaller amount than what we find in all these danger areas, but it just shows you that this trend is pervasive, and we find a small amount of that phenomenon on U.S. soil. And the bright side is it's not an insurmountable problem, because when we look at the millions and millions and millions and millions of mines that were laid during World War I and World War II, a staggering amount of those have been recovered within years after those conflicts. But once again, I say it's the willpower and certainly the culture and the terrain that all contribute to that. And there was a treaty in 1999, the Ottawa Treaty, banning anti-personnel mines, but that doesn't preclude the fact that they're still used, obviously, in a lot of war zones by certain countries, and the fact that we have all this unexploded ordnance littering back from 110 years of 20th century warfare and bombs left to kill and maim 110 years later. So something to think about, along with all the other legacies of war we have. And there's also, just to clean up former U.S. sites, and this is one of the reasons why this ordinance is still out there, just to clean up former U.S. sites around the globe and in the United States. There's over 10,000 of them. It cost $18 billion. So you can see one of the reasons why a lot of things aren't done about this. And the UN funded 230 clearance projects in 2011 in 29 countries and spent $500 million. So there are efforts being made, and there is some progress being made. Many independent international mine clearance groups are out there working too. In fact, one UK group even removed 100,000 unexploded ordnance just from one province in Vietnam. And that's a private company. So I applaud these efforts, because this is quite a staggering thing to think about, all this ordnance littering the globe and continuing to kill undoubtedly the innocent now in a lot of these zones. So, and then last but not least, let me finish up with an anecdote that has a certain amount of irony to it. And that's the fact that a lot of the area around Washington, D.C. is poisoned, particularly with arsenic. And the ground used to be soaked with it. Tons of soil was removed from Washington, D.C., and that's because between 1917 and 1919, the U.S. Army tested munitions and chemical weapons just at the end of World War I and after that. And so now they're dealing with the legacy. So maybe that's the reason why the government in Washington, D.C. is so insane, is because they're living on what is the equivalent of ancient burial ground, a toxic waste dump. It certainly is in policy. But I digress. So there we have a global tragedy, perhaps as many as 110 million unexploded bombs that will eventually either be removed or kill more innocent people. 110 years of it. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.